Welcome to today's video. So today we're going to just go through making up a small repair section for a Capri. This is a Mark III Capri, some of you may or may not know. The panels that we're going to do today are going to be for a Mark I Capri. I don't have one in the shop, so you have to bear with me there. So we're going to be making a front guard repair section, or front wing. So we're going to be making this section here for a Mark I. I tend to make quite a few of these, get a lot of questions about them, so I thought I'd just do a small video and we'll cover how I go about making that. Let's get into it. So over on the bench here now, this is our template which we're going to start with today. I get these laser cut just because I make so many of these, so I've already drawn the pattern out on AutoCAD and I get these laser cut at a local company. They only have CA2 cold rolled steel on the shelf. We normally use CA3 here in the shop. CA2 does the same job, just makes our life a little bit harder. The beauty also of using the laser cutter is they can etch on any marks or lines, hole positions which you might need on a panel. So these ones do have, if I can find them, try and zoom in. Where are we? Can't find them. So on the panel here, not sure if you can see, there's a few witness marks here. This will go up on our folder, and that will be where we fold those up. But first of all, we need to put a little bit of shape into this panel. At the moment it's very, very flat. Just going to put a little bit of shape just through the main section of the panel, just to get it started. So let's move over to the wheel and we'll get that happening. So over on our wheel now, we're just going to put a little bit of shape through this panel, just through the upper 2/3. The bottom of the panel folds down underneath the sill and that needs to stay flat, so we won't be touching that. But we're not going to go too crazy here. We're literally just going to run it through the wheel once, maybe twice, just to get the shape started. We're not trying to make the finished product here. We're just going to put a little bit of shape through it. Don't need much up top. Nice and easy. Come over to the camera now. I'm not sure if you can pick this up. We've got a little bit of shape that way, and we've got a little bit of shape that way. That's all we need at this stage. So now I'll show you our little jig that we've got, and we'll get into making some shape. Okay, so next we have, I've got a jig for making these just because I make so many of them. This would be what I would call a 2D jig. It's actually very, very flat. When this panel's finished, it actually has a lot more shape into it, and it would have been a lot better to make this jig with that shape, but this is what we've got, and this is what we're going to use today. So it's just made out of some 40mm RHS, SHS, and some 6mm plate. I guess the thing that really saves us some time is just having this. This is the start of the front wheel arch there, so we've got that ready to help us out. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in these swage lines. We need to fold this up a little bit, and what I've got an angle finder here, and we'll offer it up. Sets our angle somewhere there. So that is going to have to go through on this line down the bottom here. So we'll go over to the folder, put that line in. I'll reset this for this swage line here, and then we'll put the second line in. We'll fold the bottom, and then we're ready to form it up onto our jig. Okay, so first line we're going to do is this the bottom one that goes down towards the sill. So we'll just put this marks lined up. And we're there. Now I've got to try and bring this up into that angle. So on a few of these, right? I reckon that's pretty close. See what we've got. Slightly under, a bit more. see what we've got. Slightly over, that's okay. Don't have a problem with that. So the next one, we've got a pole with the next swage line up, and that one's literally just a break. It's not nothing too serious, so we'll just do that right line. And up on the mark. Just a break. Small break on that one. Small break, and the next one we do is going to be the fill line. This one's going to be 90 degrees. Somewhere there. Okay, so that's basically our all the folding done. So now we're going to put this on our jig, we'll clamp it down and we'll start shaping. Okay, so we've got the jig in the vise. Basically all we do is clamp this on here now, and what we're going to do is clamp that down. I'm going to scribe a line underneath so we can get this line marked out for ourselves. And what I'll also do while I'm here is I'll turn this back edge down, so that's ready to go. Alright, so I'll stop talking, I'll put this onto fast forward because I'm going to clamp this down. It might take me a few minutes, bear with. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, actually I'm going to send this side down first, so I'll move the camera just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to turn this edge down here. I've got my old faithful panel hammer here. It does have a small amount of crown into it, as in shape that way, not a huge amount. Now it's important when you turn an edge like this that we don't stretch the outside edge, because that will change the shape of it. We want to try and stretch the inside edge if at all possible. So the normal way of achieving that is obviously to start hammering towards the fold line and then slowly bring it over. You can't do it in one hit, you've got to take your time. Right. Let's just take this around. Okay, that gives us a nice crisp line. That's got to be shaped up or shrunk later to also change the shape of the panel. What we're going to do now is we're going to try and scribe two parallel lines on the underside of this panel, because we need to mark that out so we can pre-stretch this metal up. So I can just find the scriber around the outside. And then I've got an adjustable scribe edge device, so I'll set that so edge to the inside line. And what we can do, hopefully, take that off the jig, and we can then use, I'll just drop that, edit that bit out. So what we can do now is use this edge scriber and just run a line just down the panel. It doesn't got to be super accurate, it needs to be accurate at the top. But on the Capri, this arch is defined here, and as it comes into the bottom section, it disappears into nothing. So what we need to do now, we need to pre-stretch all this metal Just got to give it somewhere to go. So we'll get onto the sandbag now, and we'll start blocking that out. Okay, so we're over on our sandbag here now. So we're going to try and pre-stretch, block out some of this line, just so I can form it around our jig. So I'm going to be using a small blocking hammer. It's got a small end and a big end, so we'll use a small end to go close to the line. And then where we've got to fill in between, we'll probably go to the bigger one. So let's form that up. Okay, so that's the blocking out done. That's done serves two purposes. We've brought this metal up. It's been stretched. It's now starting to form the arch shape. That's also started to send the side down, which is what we want. It's working for us. And we've also started to form this reverse, which you normally get in a Capri guard. Because we haven't put any, we didn't work that area. We didn't put any hammer marks in that. That's just it's formed itself by blocking out to those parallel lines. So not too pretty right now, but we'll put that in the jig and we'll start to clean that up. Okay, so this panel now goes back on our jig. Put some timber on here, clamp it back down again, and then we'll start to clean this area up. There's the hammer. All right, let's clean this area back up. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but already this reverse, by stretching here, it's pushing the reverse down where we want it. So you can see the arch, it forms itself without any too much work. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, next thing I'm going to do, we need to turn this edge, but before I turn that edge, I'm going to just settle this return down just very slightly, just in case it draws the material over. I'll just go and get a different tool. I'll be back. So I've just turned these clamps over just to give me better access here. All I've got is we made these. It's a piece of round bar, just been formed into an S. Just gives you a nice handle, and we can use this for various jobs on returns. So what I'm trying to do here is we're not trying to deform too much, we're trying to work this edge. So if we stretch the metal here, it will help to send it down. Okay, that's beautiful. Nice. Don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that's sharpened this edge up. We've got the return going where we want it. So the next thing to do is going to be to turn this edge. So I'll need to move the clamps and the timber a little bit closer just to stop it from deforming. Okay, so we've got some clamps on there now, so all I need to do, same as the other side, just start to turn that edge. The camera's in the way, I'd normally use my other hand. Again, we're working on stretching this edge, we don't want to be hitting down here. My left hand doesn't work as good as the right one. Okay, so I'm just keeping an eye on the angle because it's not actually a 90. It shouldn't go down by 90 degrees. It's probably 70 or 80 somewhere there. So I'm just keeping an eye on making sure that's reasonably even throughout that shape. We can adjust it later, but you know, get it somewhere near. So we'll take that out now. And the next thing we need to do is just start to put a little bit more shape. We're taking this out of the 2D jig now, and we're getting to start to form up some of the 3D shapes in these swage lines. So, back over to the sandbag. This is a pattern which I took off of a genuine Capri front wing. So this is just our side profile. There's the top swage line. This is where the sill line sits. So eventually, when this panel is finished, we're going to do something like that. As you can see, we've got a long way to go. And the same up here. So we're going to go over in a minute onto the shrinker. We're going to shrink this flange. We're going to shrink this flange. But as we do that, the strength in this edge here is going to send this panel under. It's already it's very, very flat at the moment, so we need to just we'll just get that started there a little bit. I'm not going too crazy. We're really we're not roughing out, but we're not going all the way. Just get this started. Hammer. Just going to give it a little bit of help, not too crazy. Keep you working the return. If you don't work the return, we're just going to trying to help, trying to send it in the right direction. So as you can see, now we've put some. Go away. So now we've put a little bit of shape back in there again now. Now at this point we can probably start shrinking these edges and start to get that profile a little bit nearer our gauge. So we'll head over to the shrinker and we'll make that happen. Okay, so we're over on the shrinker here. We've got the shrinker jaws in. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to shrink this side flange and put some shape into it that way. So I generally just put an even amount of shrinking through it just to get it started. Don't do that straight line because it's already formed. A little bit on the other side. Not too much there. Keep an eye on it, making sure we go nice and smooth. So look at that. So that's now just a one pass. That's pretty much where we want it. Maybe a tiny bit more. Where are we at over here? More fingers and things like that. Okay, that's pretty close. That's enough for right now. We can. I might just put a tiny bit more in it, but we're just about there. Just a tiny bit. See what we got now. Yeah, good enough. Okay. All right, it's starting to look like a panel now, but what that has done is that is now going to send this all under. This will now be really, really flat. This needs to be all stretched more. So if I put the flat edge on there now, that way maybe. You see that? There you go. It's all under. So we've got to bring the centre of this panel needs to come up. So we're back onto the English wheel now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to run the wheel through, try and bring the centre section up, put some shape into it, try and get a bit closer to that gauge. Huh? See how we go. Just got to watch I don't wheel into that return. More in the centre of the panel than we do on the outside. Very, very little pressure between the wheels. It's just we just massage in here because we already ran it through the wheels earlier on. The metal hopefully have a bit of memory in it, and it will go where we want it to anyway. Just a bit there, I can feel that. Already I can feel that's better. So what we got? So now we're pretty much dead flat. Might go just a tiny bit more. Just being very careful we don't put any lines through this, so we, like I say, no pressure. There. Okay. Not too bad. I feel that. I feel quite good. So now we've got, you can see that if you pick it up, we've got a little bit of shape there, which is what we want. The capris are very, they're not dead flat on the side, but there's very little there. And we've retained that as a straight line. We haven't altered that at all, so that's pretty good. So the next thing we need to do is back over to the bench, and we'll start to finish cleaning up this this arch. Okay, so we're just going to run the hammer through this arch, see if we can clean it up a little bit. It's got a little bit more crown in it, so we can get to the middle of this area a little bit easier. Okay, not too bad. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to run the body file over this to pick up any high lows. Okay, so we're back on the sandbag here now. Going to run the heel of the body file over that just to highlight any high points or low points in there. Okay, so you can see we've got a little bit of low here around the swage line down this front edge. Not too worried about the rest of it. I'll go back on the block and we're going to fix it up. Okay, so where were we? So down this edge in here. See if we can get down here. Okay, back to the sandbag. We'll run the file over it again and see if we've made an improvement. Run the file over it. Here we go. Okay, we've still got a little bit around the swage line. We've picked up the line itself is now out, so that's the way we want that. I'll give that a little bit more of a hit on the block, and then we'll go over the linisher and we'll dress that all up. So we're over to our linisher now. I've done a little bit more work in the area. We'll go through now. We'll clean up this surface. That's our arch now, that's all now cleaned up. The surface is nice and shapely, it's not got any tin canning in it. We'll go over now and we've got to change this profile here. This is not how it should be. This fold line here needs to come across and change. So I've got a jig for that. We'll head over to the bench, I'll set that up and then I'll meet you there. Okay, so next step is we've got to change this line at the bottom. So I've got a jig here that I made a long time ago. This does left and right hand side of the car. This is for forming the water drain into the bottom of the sill. So we're going to clamp that in there. I've got this doohickey that goes on top. Got a bit of a cutout and that lines up. And then we can form this line and change all that. So I'll clamp that on and then we'll put some heat into it. Forward of that, just going to take a little notch out of that. There's a small notch at the front of these guys that doesn't get sent over. So. Okay, we are in like flint. Okay, so we have to send this down because we've got this fold line already formed. It's going to put up a bit of resistance, and I don't want that to be a permanent addition to our panel. So we'll put some heat through that, and we'll send it down. Okay. So I'm just going to form this line. Initially. You see on the camera there's a gather of material here, so we have to shrink that in a little bit. Nice and warm. Days. So now we're going to have to form this drain point. So what I normally do is heat it up within a millimetre of its life, and we'll send it that way. I'll just put the grinder down. Alright, there we go. J-crank's off and more. Okay, so we've now achieved by we've moved that line across. That's more Capri-like. Just need to grind some of this out here, and this this material here is now gathered up. This is all extra material, so if we grind that off, it won't cut through because it's extra material. It's thicker than it used to be, if that makes sense. So I'll get back to the linen shirt and we'll set up a sanding belt and we'll polish that off. I've put a 60 grit belt on there now, and we'll adjust up those areas. Okay, I'll swap that belt over to a polishing pad now, and we'll just a few finishing touches now. We've got to wait for that to stop. There's just a few finishing touches now. I need to just dress up that bit that's sticking out here, and this corner needs to be shrunk around. It's not in the right spot. Okay, so and we'll clean up some of this. Give that a bit of a tap up on the bench. Just give it a clean up. We'll do that now. Okay, we'll just get the oxy now, and we'll heat this corner up and just shrink it around. Okay, a little bit of heat. Some more. Just tap that round. And that is it. That is done. Okay, just one last little bit through the linear, take off some of these hot marks. I've got a dent there, I'll put in from the G-clamp, we'll take that out. And that is about done. So that's pretty much it. I've just dressed out that little dent. Pretty much ready to go now. We'll, I hope you enjoyed that little video of how I make the Ford Capri front guard repair panels. That's the drain that we was talking about earlier. Bottom swage line has now been moved. It's now correct for Capri. I don't turn this rear lip here. I let the owners do that because you just don't know if they're going to have to take off the A-post closing panel off of the guard. Sometimes they rust inside there, so I leave that as is. I don't put any shape into the top section here. Again, it depends on how it's going to be welded to the car. Are they using a MIG? Are they using an Oxy? Are they using a TIG? They may well have to do some panel beating in that along that weld area. So I don't put any shape in there to give them half a chance to not overstretch it. That's about it.